High above Earth's azure sphere, the Nexus Collective's flagship, Eternal Convergence, emerged from quantum space, its obsidian hull absorbing starlight like a cosmic shadow. Supreme Director Iziraval, her crystalline form pulsing with cyan energy, observed the planet through sensors that could detect everything from surface temperatures to quantum fluctuations. Primitive, she communicated to her command staff, her thoughts translated into waves of light that danced through the bridge's neural network. Their technology barely registers on our scales. They haven't even achieved planetary unification. Her second-in-command, Operations Director Kexnar, projected a detailed analysis of Earth's defensive capabilities into the shared consciousness space. Their most advanced weapons rely on chemical propulsion and crude nuclear fission. Their communication systems still use electromagnetic waves. They are, he paused, searching for the right word, quaint. The Nexus Collective had spent millennia perfecting the art of species integration. Some civilizations required gentle guidance, others needed firm persuasion, but all eventually recognized the wisdom of joining the Collective's grand design. Earth would be no different. Or so they thought. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, General Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's arrival on monitors that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's primitive technology. She took a sip from her coffee mug, the ceramic bearing the worn text, "I survived first contact, and all I got was this stupid mug." "They're right on schedule," she remarked to her staff. Project Oracle's predictions were spot on, down to the quantum signature of their arrival. Dr. James Rodriguez, head of Earth's Xenotechnology Division, pulled up a holographic display of the alien vessel. "Their shielding technology is exactly what we expected. Quantum-based, but with that fundamental flaw in the harmonic resonance pattern." He grinned. "They still haven't figured out that their perfect defense has a critical vulnerability when exposed to controlled quantum chaos." For 50 years, Earth had prepared. Not with obvious military buildups or visible technological leaps, but with subtle advances carefully hidden from orbital observation. The world's governments had maintained a carefully crafted illusion of division and technological stagnation, all while working in unprecedented unity below the surface. The alien message, when it came, was exactly what they had anticipated. The Eternal Convergence broadcast in every frequency, its message translated into all major Earth languages. "People of Earth, we are the Nexus Collective. Your civilization has been deemed worthy of integration into our grand design. Submit to our guidance, and we will elevate you beyond your primitive limitations. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate the consequences of defiance. You have 12 hours to surrender your sovereignty. Choose wisely." General Chen opened a secure channel to all Earth Defense Command centers. "Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Trojan Horse is now active. Maintain emissions control. Let them think their sensors are telling them everything. Continue planetary activities as normal." She turned to her strategic display, where thousands of green dots represented Earth's hidden defense grid. Quantum-shielded facilities beneath every major city house technologies that would make the Collective's advanced systems look obsolete. Stealth fleets waited in the shadow of the moon, their hulls incorporating metamaterials that bent both light and quantum sensors around them. "They expect cavemen with rockets," Chen mused. "Let's show them what happens when you give humans half a century to reverse engineer captured alien tech while maintaining perfect operational security." Dr. Rodriguez checked the final diagnostic on Earth's quantum defense network. "Should we respond to their message?" Chen smiled, the kind of smile that suggested she knew something the universe didn't. "Oh yes, but first, let's get everyone in position. When we pull back this curtain, I want them to realize just how completely they've misread the situation." She typed a brief message into her console. "To the Nexus Collective, thank you for your generous offer. However, Earth's response will require a practical demonstration. Please stand by." As the message was transmitted, Chen couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The collective thought they were dealing with a primitive species making its first steps into space. Instead, they had just challenged a civilization that had spent 50 years preparing for this exact moment, armed with technologies that even the collective couldn't imagine. The stage was set. Humanity was ready to reveal that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that knows how to play prey. Aboard the Eternal Convergence, Supreme Director Azira Val's crystalline form flickered with bemusement as she received Earth's response. The message was so brief, so cryptic, it defied the collective's extensive psychological models for primitive species behavior. A practical demonstration. She communicated to her command staff. Their arrogance is almost entertaining. Kexnar, initiate a detailed scan of their military installations. Let's see what they think constitutes a demonstration. The scan beams swept across Earth's surface, penetrating what should have been primitive materials with ease. But something was wrong. The quantum readings made no sense, showing dark spots where military bases should be, areas where their most sophisticated sensors simply failed. Impossible. Kexnar's form pulsed with confusion. These readings suggest quantum shielding, but their technology level. The realization hit too late. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility designated Deep Cradle 1, Dr. Maya Patel watched the alien scan attempts bounce harmlessly off Earth's quantum diffusion grid. She stood in a vast chamber filled with technology that would shatter the collective's understanding of what humans were capable of. They're trying to brute force through our shields, she noted, watching the energy patterns dance across her holographic display. Just like the simulations predicted. Shall we show them why that's a bad idea? General Chen's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. Execute protocol mirror. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine. Dr. Patel's fingers danced across the control interface, activating systems that had been waiting decades for this moment. The quantum diffusion grid didn't just block the collected scans. It captured their energy, analyzed their patterns, and prepared a response that would shake their confidence to its core. High above Earth, the Eternal Convergence's sensors suddenly overloaded. Their own scan energy, modified and amplified, came rushing back at them, through channels they had thought impossible for primitive technology to access. Along with it came data. Terabytes of information about their own ship's vulnerabilities, weaknesses in their quantum shielding, and tactical blind spots they hadn't known existed. How? Azira Val's form crackled with alarm. Their technological level. This can't be. Before she could finish her thought, new contacts began appearing on their tactical displays. From behind Earth's moon, from the asteroid belt, from places their sensors should have detected long ago, ships emerged. Human ships. But these weren't the crude chemical rockets they had expected. These vessels moved with the grace of quantum propulsion, their hulls wrapped in metamaterials that made them look like holes in space itself. In her command center, General Chen opened a channel to all Earth Defense Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, the curtain's going up. Show them what 50 years of preparation looks like. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, taking positions that exploited every weakness in the collective's defenses, weaknesses that humans shouldn't have known about, let alone been able to detect. Each vessel carried weapons that incorporated technologies the collective had thought unique to their civilization, but modified and improved in ways they had never imagined. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came over the command channel, barely containing his excitement. General, the quantum entanglement drive is ready. Should we demonstrate why picking a fight with human engineers was a bad idea? Chen smiled. Show them what happens when you give humanity time to innovate. The lead human vessel, designated Prometheus, activated its drive. Instead of the normal quantum jump signature the collective expected, space itself seemed to fold around the ship. It didn't just move through space. It rewrote the rules of what space was supposed to do. In an instant, it appeared directly alongside the Eternal Convergence, so close that the alien vessel's quantum shields harmonized with it. And in that harmony was humanity's first lesson to the collective. Never assume your technology is superior just because it's older. The Prometheus broadcast on all frequencies, using the collective's own communication protocols. This is Admiral James Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've spent 50 years studying your civilization, your technology, and your tactics. Would you like to see what we've learned, or would you prefer to reconsider your position on Earth's surrender? Aboard the Eternal Convergence, Supreme Director Azura Val faced a horrifying realization. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had been waiting for them. And somehow, these primitives had not only matched collective technology, but had taken it in directions the collective had never imagined possible. The game of predator and prey had changed. But who remained to be seen? The silence that followed Admiral Chen's transmission lasted exactly 3.7 seconds, long enough for the Nexus Collective to realize they had walked into the most sophisticated trap in their 10,000-year history. Supreme Director Azura Val's crystalline form pulsed with rapid color changes, a sign of intense internal conflict. The collective had never encountered a species that had managed to hide its true capabilities so completely. Worse, these humans hadn't just copied collective technology. They had transformed it into something new. "Your deception will not save you," she broadcast, her message carrying the full authority of the collective. "We are not alone. Our fleet approaches. You have merely hastened your own destruction." Admiral James Chen, standing on the bridge of the Prometheus, exchanged a knowing look with his tactical officer. "They're calling for reinforcements, exactly as predicted. Dr. Patel, are you ready to demonstrate why that's a mistake?" In Deep Cradle 1, Maya Patel stood before a massive quantum computation array, technology that represented humanity's greatest leap forward. "Quantum disruption field is ready, Admiral. They're about to learn why you don't use standardized protocols for your entire fleet." The space around Earth began to change. The quantum fabric itself seemed to ripple as thousands of hidden satellites activated simultaneously. Each one contributed to a field the human scientists had spent decades perfecting, a field that turned the collective's own quantum communication network against them. The first collective reinforcements began arriving, their ships emerging from quantum space in a display of overwhelming force. But something was wrong. Their precisely calculated jump points, transmitted through the quantum network, had been subtly altered. Ships emerged thousands of kilometers from their intended positions, their formations shattered before the battle even began. Now, General Sarah Chen commanded from her Rocky Mountain bunker. "Show them why humanity doesn't play by anyone's rules but our own." Earth's hidden fleet sprang into action. Unlike the collective's rigid battle formations, human ships moved in seemingly chaotic patterns that nevertheless followed a deeper strategy. Each vessel carried weapons that exploited different weaknesses in collective technology, weaknesses that had been discovered, analyzed, and prepared for over decades. The Prometheus led the charge, its quantum entanglement drive allowing it to appear and disappear across the battlefield at will. But it wasn't just about superior mobility. Each time it reappeared, it transmitted packets of data directly into the collective ship's quantum networks. Data that contained something the collective had never expected. Computer viruses designed to run on quantum systems. Impossible. Kexnar's form flickered erratically as he watched collective ships begin to lose control of their systems. Their programming, it's not just advanced, it's evolved. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came over the Earth Defense Force channel, filled with pride. "When you give human programmers 50 years to work on something, we tend to get creative. Those viruses aren't just programs. They're quantum AIs that we've trained specifically to counter collective systems." The battle unfolded like a chess game where one side had spent half a century studying their opponent while pretending to be learning the rules. Human ships didn't just fight. They performed an intricate dance that turned each collective tactic into a vulnerability. When the collective ships tried to concentrate their fire, they found their targets had already moved. When they attempted to coordinate their shields, they discovered their quantum harmonics had been disrupted. From her command center, General Sarah Chen watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Send the second phase signal. Let's show them why attacking Earth was their worst mistake since leaving their home galaxy. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began to power up. Asteroid bases revealed massive weapon systems that had been concealed within seemingly natural rock formations. The moon's dark side lit up with energy signatures that would have been impossible to detect until they were active. But Earth's true surprise wasn't in its weapons or ships. As the battle reached its peak, Dr. Patil activated the quantum computation array's primary function, something that would change the very nature of space warfare. "Quantum lockdown initiating," she announced. "Let's see how their ships handle fighting in space that doesn't behave the way they expect it to." The fabric of space-time around the battlefield began to change, shaped by human technology in ways the collective had never imagined possible. Their quantum drives began to fail, their weapons found their energy dissipating in unexpected ways, and their supposedly perfect understanding of physics proved dangerously incomplete. Supreme Director Azura Val watched in horror as her fleet's advantages evaporated one by one. The humans hadn't just prepared for this battle, they had revolutionized warfare itself. The message that flashed across every collective ship's command interface was brief but clear. "Perhaps now would be a good time to discuss terms that don't involve surrender. Your move." Supreme Director Azura Val's crystalline form had darkened to a deep indigo, a sign of profound distress among her kind. The battle that was supposed to be a simple demonstration of collective superiority had turned into something unprecedented in their history, a complete reversal of power. "Your species," she transmitted directly to Admiral Chen, her message carrying undertones of both fear and fascination. "You've been watching us, studying us. For how long?" The Prometheus hung in space like a predator at rest, its quantum-shifted hull reflecting no light. Around it, the human fleet had formed a complex geometric pattern that seemed random at first glance, but served to maintain their revolutionary quantum lockdown field. "Since your first scout ship entered our solar system, 52 years ago," Admiral Chen replied. "The ship you fought crashed and burned in the atmosphere. We captured it. Every piece of technology, every scrap of data, it gave us a window into your civilization. And we used it." In Deep Cradle 1, Dr. Patil monitored the quantum computation array as it continued to rewrite the rules of space-time around the battlefield. "Admiral, they're trying to adapt their quantum drives to our lockdown field. Should we show them our next surprise?" "Proceed, Doctor. Let's finish this demonstration." The quantum lockdown field suddenly shifted, its properties changing in ways that the collective's sensors couldn't track. Their ships, which had been struggling to adapt to the changed space-time conditions, found themselves dealing with an entirely new set of physics. General Sarah Chen watched from her command center as the tactical situation evolved. "Dr. Rodriguez, status on the collective's quantum network." "Their encryption is failing exactly as predicted," Rodriguez reported, his hands dancing across holographic controls. "Their mistake was assuming quantum encryption was unbreakable. They never considered what would happen if someone found a way to manipulate the quantum substrate itself." Throughout the collective fleet, systems began to fail in cascading patterns. Their quantum-based technology, which they had thought perfect and unassailable, proved vulnerable to human innovations they hadn't believed possible. Ships lost power, weapons went offline, and communication systems dissolved into quantum static. Supreme Director Azura Val watched in mounting horror as her fleet's capabilities crumbled. "This is beyond adaptation," she transmitted to her command staff. "They haven't just matched our technology, they've transcended it." The human response came not from Admiral Chen this time, but from Dr. Patel herself, her voice carrying across the quantum channels with perfect clarity. "Did you really think humanity would just wait to be conquered? We took your quantum technology and asked questions you never thought to ask. We looked at your perfect systems and saw room for improvement. Every weakness, every assumption, every limitation, we found ways around them all." As if to emphasize her point, the Prometheus demonstrated its most shocking capability yet. Its quantum entanglement drive activated, but instead of moving through space, it created a localized field that began to affect the collective ships around it. Their quantum-based systems didn't just fail, they began to operate under human control. Impossible. Keksnar's form flickered erratically. They're not just disrupting our systems, they're rewriting our quantum protocols in real time. General Chen's voice cut through the chaos. Your entire civilization is built on the assumption that your understanding of quantum mechanics is complete. We proved that assumption wrong 50 years ago. Everything since then has been about preparing for this moment. The remaining collective ships found themselves trapped in a web of human innovation. Their quantum drives couldn't break free from human control. Their weapons couldn't penetrate defenses that operated on principles they didn't understand. Their supposedly absolute control over quantum mechanics had been superseded by human ingenuity. Aziraval's form pulsed with the closest thing her species could feel to resignation. You could have revealed yourselves earlier, shown your advancement. Why maintain the deception? Admiral Chen's response was simple, but carried the weight of human history. Because humanity learned long ago that the best way to win a war is to end it before your opponent knows it's begun. We didn't just prepare for battle, we prepared to change the fundamental rules of warfare itself. Around Earth, the full extent of human advancement began to reveal itself. Orbital platforms that had masqueraded as debris came alive with energy signatures that defied collective understanding. The moon's surface rippled as hidden facilities emerged, each housing technologies that represented evolutionary leaps beyond collective science. The message was clear. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this conflict, they had used it as an opportunity to demonstrate their true place in the galactic order. The age of collective superiority was over. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's orbital space had become a museum of collective hubris. Disabled alien ships hung motionless, their quantum cores quiet, while human vessels maintained their vigilant positions. But aboard the Eternal Convergence, something unprecedented was taking place. Supreme Director Aziraval's crystalline form had shifted to a color never before seen in collective leadership, a deep violet that signified fundamental change. For the first time in 10,000 years, the collective was being forced to rewrite its most basic assumptions about the universe and their place in it. Your terms, she transmitted to the combined Earth Command staff, her message stripped of all its former imperial confidence. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, General Sarah Chen sat at a round table specially designed for this moment. Beside her, Admiral James Chen, Dr. Patel, and Dr. Rodriguez represented humanity's unified achievement. The screen before them showed not just Aziraval, but thousands of watching collective worlds. First, General Chen began. Understand that this isn't a negotiation between conqueror and conquered. This is a conversation about the future, one where humanity and the collective might both benefit from cooperation rather than conflict. Dr. Patel stepped forward, activating a holographic display that showed the quantum principles humanity had discovered. Your civilization has been stagnant, content with what you thought was perfection. We're offering something more valuable than surrender. We're offering evolution. The display showed how human innovations had taken collective quantum technology in directions they had never imagined. Ships that could rewrite local space-time. Communication systems that transcended traditional quantum limitations. Energy systems that drew power from the quantum substrate itself. Impossible. Keksnar's form flickered as he processed the data. These advances, they should have taken millennia. That's the difference between our species, Dr. Rodriguez explained. You seek to perfect what you know. We seek to discover what we don't know. Your technology gave us a foundation, but human creativity gave it wings. Admiral Chen added, we're not interested in conquest or domination. Earth will remain independent, but we're willing to establish a new kind of relationship with the collective, one based on mutual exchange and growth. As they spoke, something remarkable was happening throughout collective space. Their quantum network, still interlinked with human systems, was carrying these ideas to every collective world. Species that had been absorbed into the collective millennia ago were witnessing something they had never thought possible: the humbling of their supposed superiors. The Ziraval's form shifted again, this time to a color that indicated deep understanding. We have existed for 10,000 years believing we had reached the pinnacle of advancement. In 50 years, your species has proven that pinnacle was merely a plateau. That's the thing about humanity, General Chen replied with a slight smile. We don't believe in pinnacles. There's always another question to ask, another boundary to push, another impossibility to overcome. The terms that emerged from those discussions would reshape galactic civilization. Earth would serve as a bridge between the collective and independent worlds, sharing innovations while maintaining autonomy. Human scientists would work alongside collective researchers, pushing the boundaries of what both civilizations thought possible. But perhaps most importantly, the encounter had taught both species profound lessons. The collective learned that true advancement comes not from perfecting the known, but from exploring the unknown. Humanity learned that their greatest strength wasn't their technology or their preparedness, but their ability to imagine possibilities where others saw limits. In the years that followed, ships from Earth would venture out into the galaxy not as conquerors or the conquered, but as pioneers of a new age. The quantum barriers that had once defined the limits of possibility became mere starting points for human innovation. The flags that flew over the first joint human collective research facilities bore a simple motto that encapsulated this new era: beyond the known. It served as a reminder that in the vast expanse of space, the most powerful force wasn't technology or military might, but the simple human drive to ask, what if? And somewhere in the quantum networks that spanned the galaxy, the story of Earth's great deception and even greater revelation became legend, a testament to the fact that sometimes the most advanced civilization isn't the one with the oldest technology, but the one that never stops looking for new ways to transcend its limitations. As General Chen would later write in her memoirs, we didn't just defend Earth that day. We showed the galaxy that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our relentless drive to push beyond what others think is possible. And that's a force that no empire, no matter how ancient or advanced, can ever truly conquer.